Hello everybody, welcome to the JavaScript course. In this video, I'm going to talk about the relational operators. So the relational operators can be used to compare numbers. It can also be used to compare strings. And I'm going to talk about the automatic type conversion in the course of comparison of strings. I would also like to talk about the strict equality and the strict inequality issues of relational operators. I'm also going to talk about the relation of null values and the relation of undefined values. Now, let us see the HTML file first. It is simply a simple file that contains a title and a heading. And I'm going to link this HTML file to a JavaScript file which is stored in the JS folder, which is in the same level of the index.html file. And the HTML file is going to link to the file called myscript.js, which is the content that I'm going to discuss. Okay. The JavaScript file is like this one. I have to use the strict mode, so I say use strict at the very beginning of the JavaScript file. In order to talk about the relational operators, I would like to use the examples of comparing numbers. So how can we compare two numbers? We can say that a number is larger than the other one, like this one. If I want to compare 3 and 6, I'm going to see that whether 3 is larger than 6. So I use 3 larger than 6. So let me see the result by saving the JavaScript file. Save, reload. Yes, 3 is not larger than 6 because 3 is actually smaller than 6. Okay, so I will get false as the answer. Another example of comparing two numbers can be like this one. I want to see whether one number is larger than or equal to the other one. Okay, I want to check whether 6 is larger than or equal to 3 by using the larger than joining the equal sign, okay? And let me save it and reload the page. Yes, I will get true because 6 is actually larger than or equal to 3. If I want to check whether a number is smaller than the other one, I can use the smaller sign as follows. Now I want to see whether 5 is smaller than 9. So it is quite simple to say that this inequality holds. Let me save it and reload the page. Yes, I will get true. So this is known as the smaller sign, which compares a number against another one to see whether the first one is smaller than the second one. The other one is called smaller than or equal to. It is quite similar to the larger than or equal to, except that the larger than sign is replaced by the smaller than sign. So 7 is actually smaller than or equal to 9, so I will get true. Let me save it and run the home page to see the result. Save, reload. Yes, I will get true, because this inequality really holds. And is it possible to compare the two numbers to see whether one is equal to the other one? Yes, we can do so. We can make use of the equals operator as follows. Now I have two variables. One is called A and one is called B. A is assigned by 7 and B is also assigned by 7. If I want to check whether they are equal to each other, I use two equal signs joined together as the equals operator. Okay. Remember, when we have only one equal sign, we are doing the assignment. But when we have two equal signs joined together, we are doing the relational comparison of the two numbers or variables. So it is quite sensible for us to see that it will become true. Save, reload. Yes, I will get true, because both variables are storing the same content. Okay, the values of the two variables are the same. Okay, and it is also possible for us to check whether two numbers or two variables are not equal to each other. Suppose I have C and D. The first variable C has a value of 8, and the second variable called D has a value of 9. If I want to check whether the two variables are not equal to each other, I would use exclamation mark followed by the equal sign as the not equals operator. Okay, and it is quite sensible for us to see that this comparison returns true because 8 is not equal to 9. So this part is really true. So let me save it and run it to see the result. Save, reload the page. Yes, I've got true because 8 is really not equal to 9. Okay. We have learned the way to compare two numbers. How about comparing two strings? In order to compare two strings, we have to remember one thing in JavaScript. Basically, we follow the dictionary order. What does it mean by this one? Let us see an example. I want to check whether the string ABC is larger than another string called DEF. When we follow the dictionary order, it is sensible for us to say that ABC comes first in the dictionary and DEF comes later. So in this sense, ABC is known as smaller than DEF, but it is not larger than DEF because ABC precedes DEF in the dictionary order. If the first string precedes the second string in the dictionary, we say that the first one is smaller than the second one. So in this situation, we will get false because the first string is really in the earlier order than the second string in the dictionary. So let me save it and reload the page. Yes, I will get false because ABC precedes DEF in the dictionary order. Okay. And in order to compare two strings, we have to bear in mind one more thing. Capital letters are smaller than small letters in the dictionary order of JavaScript. So let us see the result of another situation. If I want to compare these two strings, what will I get? Capital A followed by small letter B and small letter C is really the first string, and the other string is small letter A followed by small letter B and followed by small letter C. Since capital letters are smaller than the small letters, we can say that capital A is smaller than small letter A in JavaScript. So in this kind of comparison, we will say that the second one really precedes the first one in the dictionary order of JavaScript. So this comparison gives me false again. Let me see the result by saving it first. And when I reload the page, I would get false as the answer. Okay. The reason is that the small letter A is really larger than capital A. Okay, so in this sense, small letter A should come first, followed by the capital letter A. So this kind of comparison gives me false. Okay, so we already learned the way of comparing two numbers and comparing two strings. How about the situation when different types of variables are compared together? In this situation, we will say that all the values are changed to numbers ultimately before we do the real comparison. So this is a bit abstract. This is best explained by some examples. Okay, so let me go to the first example. Okay, when I have this expression, I'm going to compare a string whose content is number 5 together with an integer which is of number type. Okay, so for this situation, we are going to compare a string with a number. In this case, we are going to turn the strings ultimately to numbers. Is it possible? Yes, because the content 5 here can be sensed as an integer. So in this case, string 5 is converted to number 5 actually. And when I turn a string to a number, I can do the comparison very well because I have both numbers on both sides of the smaller than sign, okay? So let me save it and try to get the result. Save, reload. Yes, I will get true because I'm just comparing number 5 with number 2 to see whether number 5 is larger than number 2. Okay, let us see another example. Now I'm going to compare two strings. The first string has a number 6 and the second string has a number 8. Is it possible to do the comparison? Yes, because both strings can be sensed as numbers, and I'm going to do the automatic type conversion of both strings to numbers so that the comparison can be handled. So I'm going to turn strings 6 and 8 to numbers so that I'm going to compare the two numbers. In this case, I'm pretty sure that the comparison returns true because 6 is actually smaller than or equal to 8 when they are both numbers. So in order to get the result, I'm going to reload the page first. Save, reload. Yes, I will get true because I'm just comparing two numbers after the automatic type conversion. So when we want to compare different types of data, it is likely that we need to do the automatic type conversion to see whether the two such values can be compared when they are both turned to numbers ultimately. Okay, that is the basic idea. So let us see more examples of this kind of comparison. How about this one? Now I'm going to compare a string whose content is 0 with a Boolean false value. Okay, so I'm going to check whether they are equal to each other. I'm going to do the equality check. First, the string 0 can be regarded as a number 0 because the content inside the string can be sensed as a number pretty easily. And the Boolean false value can be sensed as a numeric 0 value. So I have turned both string and the Boolean value to numbers so that I can do the comparison very well. And of course, both are number zeros for now, so I'm able to say that they are equal to each other. Save, reload. Yes, I will get true because I have turned the string to number 0 and the Boolean false value to number 0. And let us see another example. How about this one? I'm going to compare a string whose content is 0 and a number whose value is simply equal to 3. Now I'm going to turn a string 0 to number 0 because the string content can be sensed as 0 quite easily. And after this kind of automatic type conversion, I'm able to compare number 0 with number 3. In this case, I'm pretty confident to say that the comparison returns false. Let me save it and reload the page. Yes, I will get false because I'm just comparing number 0 with number 3 and they're not equal to each other, so it is sensible for us to have false as the value. Okay. How about another situation like this one? Now I have a comparison like this one. I'm going to compare the Boolean true value with a string whose content is ABC. So when I want to do the automatic type conversion, it is pretty easy for me to convert Boolean true value to number 1. And how about the string ABC? Since the content of ABC cannot be sensed as a number, the automatic type conversion from ABC to a number simply gives me not a number, that is NaN. So number 1 is going to compare with the NaN. So it is quite sensible for us to see that number 1 is not equal to NaN. So I will simply get true. Okay, so let me see the result by saving it first. Save, reload. Yes, I will get true because number 1 is a number and NaN is also a number in JavaScript sense. And these two numbers are not equal to each other. So I will get true as the final answer of this comparison. Okay. Now I'm going to set up another example like this one. Now I'm going to compare a long-empty string with the Boolean false value, and the long-empty string just consists of so many spaces, right? And how about this kind of comparison? We have to notice something before we can do the comparison pretty easily. When there is a string that contains spaces at the beginning and at the end, we are going to do the deletion of the leading spaces and the trailing spaces, okay? So that the string with spaces only will become an empty string after this kind of a deletion of the leading one and the trailing one, okay? So in this case, this string would simply become an empty string because after the deletion of the spaces, nothing is inside the string. And in this case, I will have an empty string, which gives me a Boolean false value after the automatic type conversion. So this part becomes false value, and the conversion isn't finished. After I've got Boolean false on the left-hand side and Boolean false on the right-hand side, both of the values, namely the empty string and the Boolean false value, are converted to numbers. Okay, so when they are converted to the numbers, they are both zeros actually. So in this case, I would just have 0 is not equal to 0. So both zeros are numbers, and I'm going to check whether these two numbers are the same. Of course, they're the same, so I cannot say that they are not equal to each other. So the answer would be false. Let me check it out by saving it first. Save, and then I reload the page. Reload. Yes, I will get false. Because of this kind of type conversion, I'm able to do the equality check. Okay. So when we want to compare different types of values, it is possible to have the automatic type conversion. If you want to make sure that both values have the same data type, we can have another way of doing the comparison so that the conversion of strings and Boolean values can be avoided. That means I don't do the automatic type conversion before I compare two values of different data types. So let me set up another example that illustrates this kind of strict equality comparison. For example, I want to compare a string whose content is 0 together with a Boolean false value. If we experience the aforementioned automatic type conversion, I'm able to get some answer according to the logic mentioned before. But when I have three equal signs joined together, I'm going to compare the data type as well. So when the two data types are the same, I'm able to do the further checking of the values contained in each of the variables. If the two variables don't have the same data type, I will simply say false. So let me see the result. Save, reload. Yes, I will get false. The reason is that even though 0 string can be converted to a 0 in number, and even though the Boolean false value can be converted to number 0, I have to care about the data type of each of the variables. So when the two data types don't match, I don't need to do any further check of the content. So in this case, I will say false, simply because the two data types are not equal to each other. Okay, and let me see another example. For this situation, I'm going to compare number 1 with a string whose content is 1. When we follow the automatic type conversion principle, it is sensible for us to state that the string 1 is simply converted to number 1, so that the number on the left-hand side is equal to the number on the right-hand side, and I will get true. But when I want to even compare the data types of each of the variables, it is sensible for us to see that I will get false in this comparison. The meaning is that when they are not of different data types, I don't really care about the result of the automatic data type conversion. So I will get false. Save. Reload. Yes, I will get false, just because the data types don't match. Okay. So the meaning of the 3 equal signs joined together is to compare the data type as well, which is known as the strict equality comparison. Okay. How about this example? Okay, this one is like that. Number 0 is going to compare with the Boolean true value. If we want to handle the automatic data type conversion, I will get number 0 equals number 1, which is of course false. But in this situation, when we have 3 equal signs joined together, I also want to compare the data types of each of the variable content. So in this case, a number isn't having the same data type as the Boolean true value, so it is just giving me false when I want to do the strict equality comparison. Okay, so let me save it and reload the page. Save, reload. Yes, I will get false because the data type of each of the contents is already not the same. Okay. Another topic to discuss is the situation when I want to compare the null value with other things. So how about this situation? When I want to do null larger than 3, I'm going to convert null to 0 first. So null can be regarded as a falsy value. In this case, I'm just going to get false because 0 is not larger than 3. Let me save it and reload the page. Save, reload. Yes, I will get false because null is converted to 0 before I do the comparison with number 3. And how about another one? Of course, this one will return true because null is converted to number 0, and number 0 is of course smaller than number 2, so that the comparison returns true. Save, reload. Yes, I will get true. But we have another example to consider. How about this one? Is it possible to return true? No, because when the null value is compared with another value with the equality comparison, we have to make sure that both values are null if we want to return true. If this value is a number, the comparison will simply give me false. Okay, so let me save it and reload the page. Yes, I will get false. If we want to return true, we have to make sure that both values are null. Otherwise, the comparison will simply give me false. Okay, so that is the tricky part of the equality comparison when it involves the null value. Okay. Similarly, we have another example. Now, when the situation is like this one, what will we get? We have to notice something. When we want to do the strict equality, we have to make sure something when the content is having a null as one of the sides of the comparison. When the null value is compared with other things with the exclamation mark being the beginning of the a strict equality comparison, I will get false when both values are null. So according to this rule, we can see that both sides are not null. One is null, but the other one is undefined. So according to this one, I cannot get null, and I will simply get the opposite value, which is true. Save. Reload. Yes, I will get true. So when I want to do the comparison of null with undefined using the strict equality sign to see whether null is not strictly equal to undefined, I will get true. If we want to return false, we have to make sure that both values on the left and on the right are both null. Otherwise, I will get true. Okay, so that is the point to note when we want to do the strict equality comparison to see whether one value is not equal to the other one strictly, when one of them involves null value. Okay. Now we are going to see other situations. If the value to compare involves undefined, what will happen? We will have some basic rules to consider. When I want to compare undefined with a number using the larger than sign, I'm going to convert the undefined value to not a number, because as undefined value is not having some sense to be treated as a number. Okay, so it is simply NaN. And NaN is of course not larger than 3, because we can really have no way to do the comparison in this way. So let me save it and reload the page. Yes, false would come out. How about the other one? Same idea. Undefined value will be turned to NaN. So NaN is a number and 2 is a number. And when I do the comparison to see whether NaN is smaller than 2, I will also get false, because this kind of comparison isn't really sensible. Save. Reload. Okay, I will get false actually. So that's the reason. NaN cannot be compared with number 2 by using the smaller than sign. So we can't really say the comparison is really valid. How about this one? I want to see whether undefined is equal to 0. When I'm going to compare an undefined value with another one using the equal sign, I will be able to return false if both values are not undefined. But you see, the left-hand side is undefined. So in this case, whatever the number on the right-hand side, I will get false, because the left-hand side is already having undefined as the value. So let me see the result. Save. Reload. Yes, I spelled it wrongly. Save. Reload. Yes, I will get false. The reason is like this one. And let me type the reason here. The reason is like this. When the undefined value is going to be compared with another value with the equality check operator, we will return true when the other value is undefined or null. Otherwise, we will return false. In this example, the other value is 0 other than undefined or null. So in this case, when undefined is going to check the equality check with 0, I will simply get false because I'm reaching this condition, the otherwise part shown here. Okay, so this is the important property of the undefined value shown here. And we cannot use the previous reasoning to do the comparison when we want to check the equality of the variables on both sides. In the previous example, we can just convert the undefined value to NaN when we want to do the check against the other value by using the smaller than sign or the larger than sign. But when we do the equality check using the equals operator, I'm going to use another logic shown here, okay? So we are not able to apply the previous logic to this situation when it comes to the equality checking, okay? So this video has already talked about so many types of relational operators. For example, when we want to compare numbers, we can have a number of ways to do so. And if we want to do the string comparison, we can use the dictionary order to see whether one string precedes the other one or not. When we want to compare different types of variables or values, it is sometimes necessary to do the automatic type conversion so that the different types are compared when they are both turned to numbers. And I've also talked about the strict equality issue when we want to do the comparison including the data type as well. We can simply use the strict equality check by using 3 equal signs joined together, or the other one that is the exclamation mark followed by 2 equal signs. At the end of this video, I have also talked about the undefined value together with the null value. We may have different treatment when we compare null or undefined with other values. This is the end of the video. If you have any questions about my video, please leave your questions on the comment section below the video. If you like this video, please give me a like and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.